and welcome back to OllivAmber's Wands, a study of wands in the wizarding world. I'm Amber, and today is the first half about Albus Dumbledore's wand. Like I mentioned in the past video, there's a lot to unpack here, and any conversation that I have had about this wand ended inconclusively. So instead of cramming only the highlights into one singular video, we are doing a part 1 and a part 2. Because this is our first split episode, of course it's going to be a bit different, mainly in that I am mostly talking about the wood for this wand today. Albus Percival Wulfric Brian Dumbledore has one of the longest bios in the wizarding world, along with one of the longest names. We, along with Harry, hear about Dumbledore long before we actually see or meet him. We mostly know him as headmaster of Hogwarts and the only person that Voldemort was ever truly afraid of. Throughout his long life, he carried many titles and accomplishments. He is said to have earned every award available while attending Hogwarts. He is titled Grand Sorcerer and served as Chief Warlock in the Wizengamot and Supreme Mugwump in the International Confederation of Wizards. Albus is the eldest of 3, and his relationship with his siblings and Gellert Grindelwald formed the Albus that we meet with Harry. When very young, his sister Ariana was witnessed doing magic by some Muggle boys and was attacked by them. This attack led Albus's father to killing the boys and being sent to Azkaban, leaving Ariana so traumatized that she refused to utilize or access her magic altogether. This formed what we know to be an Obscurus. This magical parasite latches onto a magical child who has to hide or block their magic. It comes out in uncontrollable bursts that can be fatal to those around it, and the parasite itself is fatal to the host, usually killing the child before they reach the age of 10. It is from one of these dangerous outbursts that Ariana accidentally killed their mother, thus leaving Albus to care for his younger siblings. When Albus returned to care for Ariana, he met a young Gellert Grindelwald. With what happened to his sister, Albus saw Grindelwald's views against Muggles as fairly reasonable. They soon began planning to rule over the wizards and enslaving Muggles. They attempted to find the Deathly Hallows that would allow them the power to do this. During this time, Albus fell in love with Grindelwald. His brother, Aberforth, fought with them because they needed Albus to stay with the family and not to go off with Grindelwald. This culminated in a duel, or a thruel, between Grindelwald, Albus, and Aberforth. This battle ended with a stray spell hitting Ariana and killing her. Grindelwald went on to continue his attempts at world domination, as we see in the Fantastic Beasts films, while Albus became a teacher at Hogwarts. In 1945, Albus had one final battle with Grindelwald at the height of his power and defeated him, thus earning him the Elder Wand from Grindelwald. After all of that, and still being a teacher at Hogwarts, Albus taught throughout the years that Tom Riddle, or Voldemort, was a student there. By the time that Harry meets Albus, he has already seen the rise and fall of 2 dark wizards. Albus spends a great deal of his life in secret, aside from these events. He orchestrates mostly everything in the series into happening. He is incredibly intelligent, influential, intuitive, and one of the most powerful wizards that we see. Now, this episode is about his original wand that he uses throughout Fantastic Beasts, because the Elder Wand is not his personal wand. He was only a holder for it, like many others were in the past. So, let's dive right into my theories. Wand wood. Some of you might have seen the TikTok and Instagram reel I made about this wand. Mostly everyone on there said the same thing about the wood. I also consulted my beloved friend Junker, since he was such an amazing help with Grindelwald's wand. After all of that, I took a more serious look at this wood to see how much it suited Albus, and I think I'm happy with the results. I do have one other option, but that's more theory than substance. The consensus was ebony. I think this mainly had to do with the color of the wand at first glance, not considering it to have been stained black, but the description of ebony makes for a compelling argument. Ebony wands always have a solid stance in their beliefs, a drive to fulfill their purpose, and are unwilling to back down to anything the outside world might say. These wands are great for combat, but excel in transfiguration, which Albus taught before becoming headmaster. OllivAmber says that these wands are just as impressive in reputation as they are in appearance, with its gleaming rich black coloring. Ebony wand owners are incredibly individualistic and quite comfortable in taking the outsider approach to life. We can definitely see that how Albus behaves throughout his entire life. He has always comfortable separating himself from others. We see this in how he treated Harry in his 5th year and how secretive and withheld he is in every instance that we have with him. Even in Secrets of Dumbledore, he walks away on his own rather than engaging with people that we know to be his friends. Historically and culturally, there are several uses for ebony that we have. Its deep color made it a commodity, and it's dense enough to actually sink in water. Many cultures used ebony as a symbol of beauty, purity, balance, and power. Balance and power, I think, are easily comparable to Albus. In Egypt, carvings of ebony were often found in tombs, and was revered for its beauty and mysteriousness, which I think tracks with Albus's secretive nature. In Sri Lanka, ebony is protected as an endangered wood, and any harvesting is considered illegal. Due to the resonance in tone and stability, ebony was often the ideal for musical instruments, such as violins. My other theory for a possible wood, though, is English oak. Now, this may be just me on my lonesome talking crazy, but English oak requires strength, courage, fidelity, and powerful intuition. All of that just screams Albus to me. Now, I also have said in the past, and I will always reinforce it, oak and holly are kings of the forest during different parts of the year. I like to think of this as two sides of the same coin. Since Harry's wand is holly, I think it would be a very interesting parallel for Albus to be oak. Not only that, but it could symbolize how Albus was the savior of the wizarding world from Grindelwald, and now Harry is the new savior from Voldemort. Like how we start the year with Oak as king before Holly takes over in the summer. Another little point I had to support this was that it is legend that Merlin's wand was made of English oak. Merlin being one of the most powerful wizards in history, and Albus being one of the most powerful of his age, I can connect the dots if I want to. Now, let me know what you think. Is Albus suited for an ebony wand, or is it an English oak wand? Or do you have a completely other idea, different than what that I didn't mention? Let me know and I can cover it in part 2. Fun facts. This wand is entirely black and silver with this beautiful cut swirls and runes. Now, if you know anything about me, I love symbols. Historical or meaningless or even circular Gallifreyan for those Doctor Who fans. I love symbols. So let's take a look at these runes. Sadly, I am terrible at pronouncing these, so I will show them and maybe Cory can be amazing and write the word on the screen for me while I talk about their meanings. This guy right here means the harvest and symbolizes growth, new beginnings, and the cycle of life and death. Next, we have 2 of this guy repeating. This means message and can represent revelations, wisdom, and inspiration. Then we have this guy looking like an N, which means ox or wild bull, which means perseverance, courage, and strength. That's it for the top, and now the one on the bottom doesn't have an exact match, but there are a few that look sort of like it. The closest match, it means dawn, clarity, awakening, and as the sun rises to bring the day, it can mean enlightenment from the darkness. Do you think any of those runes have any further meaning regarding Albus? I certainly do. Also, the black swirl in here really reminds me of an Obscurus, which rings back to his sister Ariana and to Credence from Fantastic Beasts. Let me know what you think about what I covered today. Do you agree with the wood choices or the runes? Wrap up. So I attended the live event for Potterless Podcast and I had an absolute blast. I got some merch. And I put on my brave pants and actually told the host, Mike Schubert, that his podcast is one of the things that inspired me to actually start this channel. I chickened out for almost 3 years to start this, so that podcast really gave me the kick that I needed to try. So if in any universe Mike somehow sees this, thank you so much. And for everyone else, go check out Potterless Podcast and all of his other works. He is currently reading Percy Jackson for the first time on the Newest Olympian, so I'll have links down below to the sites for those. And my local Comic-Con is this weekend, Phoenix Fan Fuzion. Only a few days, or depending on if this posts on time, I will actually be at Comic-Con at this very moment. I'll be attending every Harry Potter event there, and I will post on Instagram and maybe go live for a teeny tiny bit throughout the weekend. I am so excited, and I plan to get a lot of art and maybe some new wands. Maybe I can do a little showcase later on. What do you guys think? Thank you so much for watching. Please remember to like this video, subscribe, and share with your wizarding loved ones. Also, please send along any owls in the comments or by grabbing some Floo powder and heading onto my socials. Stay tuned for part 2 on Albus Dumbledore's wand. Trust me, there's a lot more to discuss here. Special thank you and love to Cory, who is supposed to attend at least one day of the con with me. I really do hope to see you there, friend. I know you'll have a great time, trust me. Go check out his work because he does a lot more than just edit out my blunders. I'll have his link tree also below. Thank you, wizards and witches, and have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye.